Okay, let's see. Well, you want me to go over just like basically do's and don'ts for weapons?
Yes.
For crafting? I wish I had a whiteboard. I'll go over a few things that a bunch of common mistakes that people do that should really be avoided, and they're easy to avoid, and they save you so much trouble. Okay, first, always cover the ends of your pipe if you're going to put it in foam. Like I just said, if this was the end of your weapon, and you're gonna like the tip's gonna be here, and you just decide, okay, well, I'm just gonna feed it in here. No, don't do that, because what'll happen is you always have to leave space, and so you'll have your ½ inch of space or whatever. ½ inch is a good, nice compromise between durability and flex and safety. You'll have the ½ inch. There'll be tape all around this. There's nothing protecting the foam from the core. This is the last 6 inches of the weapon or so is what takes 90% of the wear, and when you're fighting, and it'll move around, it'll cut into the foam here, it'll dig into it, become unsafe, and or just rip the hell off. Especially if it's a duct tape weapon, they just rip. And all you have to do, you can even just use duct tape if you want, but I'll illustrate on Dacron tape, which is the other piece of equipment or a piece of supply you'll need to make. Is this gray? This is gray. If you really want to make high quality weapons. And here's the second tip: cut tape, don't tear tape. You can't actually tear Dacron, so good luck with that. But if you're using, I'll just use duct tape because that's what you're going to do anyway. Because Dacron's expensive and it takes some lead time to get it shipped to you, and duct tape's everywhere. Even homely old duct tape, cut it. Just cut it. There, simple. See, it's a nice clean edge. You haven't warped it, it hasn't stuck into itself like this, and you're like, I have to fight with tape, it sucks. And then, you'll fight with it, and then it looks like crap anyway.
What's the pros of using Dacron instead of duct tape?
The pros, there's everything. Okay, thank you for, please keep prompting me because I'll just forget like I said. This is adhesive back Dacron. You can also get it at Goodwin's Kites. Check the thread on the FOD forums. It's in the main FOD forum. Expensive stuff. I always buy it in big old rolls for like 80 bucks. I know that's sort of like, heart attack inducing cost. This is like 80 bucks, but this will last you forever. Well, not forever, for a very, very long time. If you're selling your weapons for anything reasonable, I know our FOD culture is a little hippy-dippy, and people do it for trade or for cookies or I don't know what kids today use, but back rubs, sewing, whatever. But if you actually sell your weapons,
and you,
what'd you say?
Back rubs are not worth it.
Not worth it. Ignore the debris on the ends of it that sort of inevitably happens because somebody put the tape on the carpet.
Don't put your tape on the carpet.
Yeah, don't put your tape on the carpet. Guys. So this is Dacron.
Comes
3 inch.
in white,
It comes
gray,
in white, gray, black,
red.
Red. The red is really nice. The gray and the red and all the color Dacron, it's slightly more pliable, just as strong, but a little bit more pliable, a little bit more forgiving. It has a nice little sheen to it. Most people use duct tape, and this is a pretty good variety for it, plain old duct tape, for their weapons because it's cheap. It's forgiving, it's easy to work with, it's pliable. And I can understand why, but if you want to make a lightweight weapon, if you went to the trouble to buy 505 core, and it's a pain to deal with, you went to trouble to glue things up, to make a good crossguard, why would you want to ruin it by then putting cheap duct tape on it, which is going to rip very quickly? I've seen people use duct tape for flat-bladed weapons, and flat-bladed weapons take twice as long to make, for me anyway, and then you just go ahead and put something that has really no structural integrity on it. Duct tape isn't very strong. All it is just plastic with a few strands of nylon and adhesive. Dacron is stronger than nylon as far as I can tell. It's all Dacron, and so it's very, very strong. This is basically sail repair tape or insignia tape you put on sails for, what is it called? West Marine. That's a website. westmarine.com has some of these, usually only in white or black. But it's much, much stronger. The adhesive's better, and under heat it cures, which means it gets stronger, the bond, which duct tape you never know what you're going to get with that. Sometimes it gets stronger, sometimes it gets weaker, sometimes it peels. But duct tape is just very easy to tear,
What kind of tape should you never use?
You never want to use
Make an entire weapon of gaffer tape?
Gaffer's tape. Don't use gaffer's tape to make your weapon. That is, when I say that, don't use it for the blade of your weapon. Gaffer's tape is perfectly usable in a lot of situations for little minor details, and I use gaffer's tape exclusively when I make pommels. We'll get to that. Because the reason why people use gaffer's tape, it's kind of expensive stuff, honestly. Or at least, or maybe I overpaid for this giant roll when it was a giant roll. They'll use it for the blades because it's incredibly forgiving. It's very smooth. It doesn't wrinkle very much. You can get it around corners. It'll cover a lot of mistakes.
You can find it in more places than Dacron.
You can find it way more places than Dacron. And it's strong, relatively. The thing is, it's very heavy. Very, very heavy. And if you're making an ultralight weapon, why would you then go ahead and ruin the whole point by putting heavy, heavy tape on it? Other thing about it, and I wish I had a squishy tip for a weapon. Let's see. Could you show me the halberd there?
There's a dagger right there.
Oh, dagger. Never mind. Thank you. Thank you. When you make the 2-inch thrusting tip for a weapon, if you used very, very stiff gaffer's tape, it tends to be an incredibly stiff tip that tends to compress and never decompress. Even if you put holes in it, it tends to get gummed up and sort of cover up the holes. And the thing that people who are new to making weapons do is use too much tape anyway, and so to get really stiff, it's just bad all around. So don't use gaffer's tape. Dacron, if you can get it. There's also something called kite repair tape, which is nylon, and which I used to use years ago. It used to have this gray stuff. Not this stuff. This is black because you're using your eyes. But there used to be gray kite tape that was very, very pliable, very forgiving, incredibly strong, and unbelievably light. I mean, it's translucent. But for some reason, they call this crack and peel, and the reason they do is because for whatever reason, and watch it not rip, but yeah, this stuff is a little bit stronger, which is why I keep it around. It is brittle and crinkly, and it wrinkles very, very easily when you put it on a weapon. It's actually lighter than Dacron, and plenty strong enough, but it just doesn't look good, and it'll wrinkle if you look at it the wrong way, so I don't recommend it. However, it's great for lightweight applications inside the weapon, like when you're covering the tips or using it to reinforce things, because it weighs practically nothing. Okay, that's my tape diatribe. Let's see, we went over what kind of foam to use, a 3/4 inch for McMaster Carr, 3/4 inch thickness with 1/3 inner diameter, the 505 core from Goodwin's Kites or wherever you can get it. You might have to shop around for good prices. And so you want to make a Boffer weapon, say like these daggers. This is what we'll cover right now. This is made with 505 core. First thing you want to do is measure out your weapon. Some people don't measure very well. That's the second sort of, or third tip, but the first one was always cover the ends of the pipe. Don't use, what was I talking about? Don't use gaffer tape. The other one is measure, cut, always cut tape. The other one is measure wherever you can.
How about handles, like what to cover the handle with, like the grip?
We can get that in a minute,
okay.
Because that's a secondary part of it. You can just make, that will lead into what I'm about to talk about though. You can just make a weapon out of 505 core without anything special for the grip. That's what a lot of people do, it's what I used to do as well. Like you just get the 505 core, this would be a tiny dagger, and you just, let's see, you'll cut the foam to the right size for it, cover it up, put it halfway in there, put the glue on, put it down, and then you have this for your handle, that thickness, you see. And so you have a choice to make. You decide either you're going to bulk it up a little bit by putting layers of tape on either side, or by alternating layers of duct tape or gaffer's tape or whatever you want to use.
Mounting tape is what I use for that one.
Well, eventually you'll use mounting tape to stick whatever your grip material is on it, because it works pretty well and it's removable. Or you can just keep using mounting tape that way too. I find I go through that stuff very, very quickly though. Scotch mounting tape, very useful. Don't get the cheap stuff from like Office Depot, it just tears way too easily and it just doesn't last very long. Oh, there's another reason not to use duct tape, especially colored duct tape. Gray duct tape tends to last okay. This is my little storage thing for my X-Acto knife, so I don't, stab myself. And I covered the end over it with a piece of tape and a little piece of foam, so a little blade sticks in there. It's fairly innovative, ooh, yeah, I'm a genius. But the thing is, I did this years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, and the tape, I don't know if you're getting the audio on that, it just dry rots all to hell, the color stuff. It's dusty. Yeah, and if you make a weapon out of that brown tape and it gets in the sun at all, it can just sort of disintegrate. It's like a mummy.
The adhesive kind of powders.
It powders, it's gross. It's like maple syrup.
In general, don't leave your weapons in a car in the heat.
Yeah, don't leave weapons in your car. In the cold and the heat, it doesn't matter. Don't take them out as you get home from any event. Take them out, put them somewhere safe. Don't lean things on them. Even durable weapons made out of Dacron, which will last a very long time and are super tough. If you put like luggage on it, it'll permanently mar it. You may puncture it. It'll end up looking like crap. You may permanently compress the tip. That's just basic weapon care. All right. I know I said don't put tape down. Oh, yeah.
Bad piece of foam.
What the hell did you do to it?
It had something sitting on it.
Yeah, okay. Good illustration. Thank you. This is Erin Cito. She's helping me and prompting me with questions because I get a little befuddled. Okay.
I'm about to run out of time.
Okay. Well,